Hey guys, I'm Guy Cocker for GameSpot UK, and I'm here just down the road from our London office to come and see Slightly Mad Studios. Now the team is putting the finishing touches to Shift 2 Unleashed, so let's go and meet the designers and check it out.
Hi, I'm Andy Tudor, lead designer at Slightly Mad Studios, and we're here to talk about Shift 2 Unleashed. When we approach this kind of game and a sequel in particular, you want to make sure that you're heading in a very definite direction, but you also want to make sure that you're not just ticking items off a checklist. So although we're kind of playing in the sim racing space, we want to make sure that we're also flipping it on its head as well. So we're not just going to be adding in features just because another game happens to have those. What we want to do is take it back to its roots. You know, that was our approach in Shift 1 as well. It was, you know, we're coming into this area of circuit racing, and the most important thing is being behind the wheel and feeling that you're going fast, which is something that we felt other games hadn't really captured. And that's what then led to the cockpit view. You know, people weren't using the cockpit view. Well, why isn't that? It's the most, it's the iconic, it's the best place to be, behind the wheel in a car. So we had, you know, we looked at those kind of things and realised that, well, it's because it feels like you're in a widescreen letterbox format, because it's so constricting having the sun visor and the wheel and the dashboard in front of you. It felt constricting. Well, we've got to change that. Lots of games have had night racing in the past, but none of them have really done it justice to the feedback that we're getting from real life drivers, our own experiences of night racing. You know, if I was to ask you, for example, like, remember a time when you were driving in the night, you won't probably remember the time when you were nipping out to the supermarket or something. You'll remember that time when you went to visit a friend along a country road and it was absolutely pitch black, and maybe it was a bit foggy, and you had your full beams on and you still couldn't see 2 feet in front of the car. And that's the same kind of feedback that the real drivers are giving us. They're saying, look, I've got this amazing car with these huge high beams and I still can't see the corner coming up. And other games would simply just light the corner up for you with floodlights or great big yellow flashing chevrons to tell you that. Well, you know, that's not a great gameplay experience. It doesn't give you a new level of challenge. So what we want to do is, if we're going to go up against the, you know, people like Forza and GTs, we want to make sure that we do baby steps and make sure that we get everything right from the ground up and do it in this 10 out of 10 way that, you know, people haven't seen before. Any designer's job, and as a lead designer, you have to kind of pull from your own experience and pull from other games and just kind of have that instinct of what is going to be kind of cool and fun. So when it came to night racing and like talking about that and brainstorming with the direction that we're going to go, you know, I was thinking of Resident Evil and things like that, you know, where you're wandering around, you know, and you don't really want to turn that corner because you're not quite sure what's there, and you find yourself as a player walking quite slowly in that case. And Alan Wake, for example, like walking around with a torch, and it's your only kind of survival method, you know. And I was thinking, well, that's a scary place, and you've only got this tiny little thing for protection. And you know, when it comes to Shift 2 Unleashed, when you play night racing in the game, you've literally just got your headlights, and with the full damage system that we have now, as soon as those headlights are out, it's a very different experience. And yeah, it brings that kind of fear back into driving. But yeah, you were a bit different from other companies in that, you know, we have a London-based studio, but we have a distributed development model, which means that basically everyone can sit at home and work in their bedroom or their study or their home office or whatever.
You've got Lego, you've got PS3 Need for Speed Shift, but you've also got Masters of the Universe figurines, quite a collection behind us.
Yeah, figurines, I think you'll find them, they are action figures. Yeah.
So you've got things like the Lego cars here, you know, we've got all the different types of
car that they create, like the muscle cars, and you can even recreate Hot Pursuit if you really want with these kind of things. So yeah, you got, at the end of the day, you got to remember that you're making games for kids, yeah. And as soon as you lose sight of that, then you realise you're only making the game for yourself, and therefore, it's not potentially going to do as well as you hope.
We've got our 360 coder in Australia, and one car artist on Reunion Island in South Africa, which is just off the east coast. Another car artist in Florida, and it's great because we only ever get experienced guys to work for us, and it works great for those guys because they've been in the industry for a while longer. They've probably got wives, kids, and it works great as a development model because you can't turn creativity on at 9 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes, sometimes it comes at 4 in the afternoon. With a distributed development model, it means that those guys can come online, in Australia time, and it means that you can come in the morning and something's magically been fixed by someone on another time zone. We've had absolutely unprecedented access to all the Team Need for Speed drivers. They're all in different disciplines of time attack, drift, endurance, things like that. Little things like Jamie Campbell-Walter, GT1 driver, coming in and telling us that when he sat in his Sumo Power Nissan GTR GT1, that the viewpoint that we had in the game was a little bit lower than it was in reality when he sat in the car. So little things like that, we change it, and then he comes back, the next month, and he's like, guys, you got it spot on, and it sounds amazing, and handles amazing, and when you're doing Eau Rouge on Spa in the game, it's absolutely perfect. So yeah, it's great to have those guys on board. Other games will say that they've had race drivers helping them, etc. Yeah, not to the extent that we've had access to in Shift 2. One thing we found in Need for Speed Shift was that the fans were making their own game modes, yeah? And one of the most popular game modes that people were making was called Catch Up.
Closing the gap. Come on, Mini!
People were going to the Nordschleife, and they were all choosing like really low-end powered cars, so something like a Golf or a Focus or something like that. And then one guy was in a Bugatti Veyron. And what would happen is all the Golfs would set off, and then after a certain amount of time, they'd go, and the Veyron would then set off as well, and then it was who would get to the finish line first. And we were amazed at this, look at what the community guys are doing. We would be playing this mode and thinking, this is absolutely fantastic, So we looked at that and we were like, let's make it official. So now you can play Catch-Up Pack. And Catch-Up Pack is basically the pack, all are in the same identical cars of lower performance. And then the chaser is the guy who's in the supercar. And so this kind of reminds you of like the kind of crazy challenges they do on Top Gear, don't they? Whether it's a car chasing a boat or a helicopter chasing a train or whatever. This is the same kind of thing. So it's the pack's job to stay out in front and block, the chaser, and the guy who gets to the finish line first is the winner. If a member of the pack gets to the finish line first, they then become the chaser.
The Mini Cooper wins.